Okay, today is 25th of August and we are on the 46th chapter of the Samyutta Nikaya, Bojjhanga Samyutta. Today we come to Sutta 46.35. Buddha said, monks, when one attends carelessly, unarisen sensual desire arises, and arisen sensual desire increases and expands. Unarisen ill will arises, and arisen ill will increases and expands. Unarisen sloth and torpor arise, and arisen sloth and torpor increase and expand. Unarisen restlessness and remorse arise, and arisen restlessness and remorse increase and expand. Unarisen doubt arises, and arisen doubt increases and expands. Monks, when one attends carefully, the unarisen enlightenment factor of recollection arises, and the arisen enlightenment factor of recollection goes to fulfillment by development. When one attends carefully, the unarisen enlightenment factor of investigation of Dhamma arises, and the arisen enlightenment factor of investigation of Dhamma goes to fulfillment by development. And similarly for the other factors, enlightenment factors, they arise and the unarisen factors arise and the arisen factors goes to fulfillment because of careful attention. That's the end of the sutta. So here it says that if one does not have yoniso manasikara, careful attention or thorough attention, then the 5 hindrances arise. Or if they are already arisen, then they will increase. And conversely, if one does have yoniso manasikara, careful attention or thorough attention, then the unarisen enlightenment factors arise, and the arisen enlightenment factors goes to fulfillment by development. It goes to show the importance of this yoniso manasikara, thorough attention or thorough consideration or careful attention. The next sutta is 46.38. The Buddha said, when monks, a noble disciple listens to the Dhamma with eager ears, attending to it as a matter of vital concern, directing his whole mind to it, on that occasion the 5 hindrances are not present in him. On that occasion the 7 factors of enlightenment go to fulfillment by development. And what are the 5 hindrances that are not present on that occasion? The hindrance of sensual desire is not present on that occasion. The hindrance of ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, doubt is not present on that occasion. These are the 5 hindrances that are not present on that occasion. And what are the 7 factors of enlightenment that go to fulfillment by development on that occasion? The enlightenment factor of recollection goes to fulfillment by development on that occasion. The enlightenment factor of investigation of Dhamma, etc. All the enlightenment factors go to fulfillment by development on that occasion. When monks, a noble disciple listens to the Dhamma with eager ears, attending to it as a matter of vital concern, directing his whole mind to it, on that occasion these 5 hindrances are not present in him, and on that occasion these 7 factors of enlightenment go to fulfillment by development. That's the end of the sutta. So here, when we listen to the Dhamma, it says we must listen with eager ears, directing the whole mind to it. This is having yoniso manasikara, careful attention or thorough attention. So when one pays thorough attention, that means one is concentrating one's mind on hearing the Dhamma, then the 5 hindrances for a short while are not present, and the 7 factors of enlightenment, when you concentrate your mind for that short while, they are considered to be present, although not fully present because you don't attain up to the jhanas yet. It is enough. So what the Buddha is saying is that if we listen to the Dhamma with careful attention, directing our whole mind to it, the conditions are right for us to attain the path or the fruit, because the 5 hindrances are not there. That means you have wisdom, because the 5 hindrances are the cause of delusion, the cause of not seeing things clearly. So when the 5 hindrances are absent, then we can see things clearly. Knowledge and vision arises. And also the factors of enlightenment are present, and that means they help us to attain partial enlightenment, depending on whether you have samadhi or not. If you have perfect samadhi, then it's enough to attain perfect enlightenment. But if the factors are not that strong for somebody who has not attained the jhanas, still if you concentrate on listening to the Dhamma or reading the suttas, here the Buddha is saying there's enough of the 7 factors of enlightenment for you to attain partial liberation. That means attain the paths and the fruits. That's why we see in the suttas that almost all of the people who attain stream entry, the first path, the first stage of Aryahood, almost all of them do so by listening to the Dhamma. And usually the Buddha will see whether that person, his mind is clear enough to understand the Dhamma. If he has the potential to understand the Dhamma, then only the Buddha will teach the 4 Noble Truths to him. And when he listens to the 4 Noble Truths, he has enough understanding to attain the first path, attain stream entry. The next sutta is, so here also this sutta, this 46.38, it is saying indirectly that listening to the Dhamma is the occasion for attaining the path of the fruit. So indicates how important it is to listen to the Dhamma with careful attention, with thorough attention. The next sutta is 46.39. The Buddha said, "Monks, there are huge trees with tiny seeds and huge bodies, and circlers of other trees, and the trees which they encircle become bent, twisted and split. And what are those huge trees with tiny seeds and huge bodies? The asata, the banyan, the pilaka, the udambara, the kachaka, and the kapitana. These are those huge trees with tiny seeds and huge bodies, and circlers of other trees. And the trees which they encircle become bent, twisted and split. So too monks, when some clansman here has left behind sensual pleasures and gone forth from the household life into homelessness, he becomes bent, twisted and split because of those same sensual pleasures, or because of others worse than them." Let's stop here for a moment. In Malaysia, we are very familiar with the Bodhi tree, with the banyan tree. These 2 trees we very often see on old buildings. The birds eat the small seeds and shit, defecate on these old buildings, and these trees start to grow at the top of old shop houses, and sometimes they grow quite big, and you can see their roots coming down. So imagine if the same trees the same seeds were to be lodged inside some other tree, they will also grow in that way. Especially there's one called the strangling fig. Strangling fig, maybe some of you have seen, some of you have not seen, but there's one devotee in Chendriang. He has this 12 acres piece of land. It's very beautiful with a lot of trees. And years ago, about 12 years ago, he planted many oil palm trees. What happened, these oil palm trees grew to quite tall, I think about 40 feet. But then these birds dropped the seeds of this strangling fig on it. And this strangling fig has grown over this oil palm tree until the oil palm tree has died, and it's standing tall on its roots, just like the banyan tree. The banyan tree lets down its roots. After a while, all the roots become the trunk itself. So these are very powerful trees, and the peculiar thing is that the seeds are so small and the trees are so huge. So the Buddha says, the person, when he goes forth from the household life into homelessness, he is left behind worldly pleasures. But he is not careful. These worldly pleasures will come back to him. The craving for worldly pleasures will come back to him. So he becomes bent, twisted and split because of this craving for these pleasures. What becomes bent, twisted and split? Not his body, but his monkhood. The monk in him becomes bent, twisted and split. And Buddha continued, these 5 monks are obstructions, hindrances and circlers of the mind, weakeners of wisdom. What 5? Sensual desire is an obstruction, a hindrance and circling the mind, a weakener of wisdom. Ill will is an obstruction, a hindrance and circling the mind, a weakener of wisdom. Sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, doubt are all obstructions, hindrances and circling the mind, weakeners of wisdom. These are the 5 obstructions, hindrances and circlers of the mind, weakeners of wisdom. These 7 factors of enlightenment monks are non-obstructions, non-hindrances, non-encirclers of the mind. When developed and cultivated, they lead to the realization of the fruit of true knowledge and liberation. What 7? The enlightenment factor of recollection is a non-obstruction, non-hindrance, non-encirclers of the mind. Similarly, the investigation of Dhamma, energy, etc. All these factors of enlightenment are non-obstructions, non-hindrances, non-encirclers of the mind. When developed and cultivated, they lead to the realization of the fruit of true knowledge and liberation. It's the end of the sutta. This chapter on the Bojjhangas about the 7 factors of enlightenment. But you find in this chapter, they talk a lot about the 5 hindrances. Because the 5 hindrances are the opposite of the 7 factors of enlightenment. Whereas the 7 factors of enlightenment bring you to enlightenment, the 5 hindrances bring you the other way, to non-wisdom. They are an obstruction, a hindrance to liberation, to enlightenment. That's why they are often mentioned in this chapter. The next sutta is quite similar, but slightly different. 46.40 monks. These 5 hindrances are makers of blindness, causing lack of vision, causing lack of knowledge, detrimental to wisdom, tending to vexation, leading away from Nibbana. What 5? The hindrance of sensual desire is a maker of blindness, causing lack of vision, causing lack of knowledge, detrimental to wisdom, tending to vexation, leading away from Nibbana. Similarly, the hindrance of ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, doubt. These 5 hindrances are makers of blindness, causing lack of vision, causing lack of knowledge, detrimental to wisdom, tending to vexation, leading away from Nibbana. These 7 factors of enlightenment monks are makers of vision, makers of knowledge, promoting the growth of wisdom, free from vexation, leading towards Nibbana. But 7, the enlightenment factors of recollection, the factor of investigation of Dhamma, the factor of energy, etc. These 7 factors of enlightenment are makers of vision, makers of knowledge, promoting the growth of wisdom, free from vexation, leading towards Nibbana. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, the reason why we are blind, we don't have vision and knowledge, is because of these 5 hindrances. and they lead us away from Nibbana. So, whereas the 7 factors of enlightenment, they lead us to Nibbana. Now, the other day we read that the 7 factors of enlightenment, when you develop all the 7 factors, they lead you progressively from the first jhana to the second jhana to the fourth jhana. Only when you attain the fourth jhana do you attain the last factor of this last enlightenment factor, which is called upekkha, equanimity. And spiritual equanimity in the sutta we read earlier refers to the fourth jhana. Only when you attain the fourth jhana do you have spiritual equanimity. So from here, when you can compare these two, you realize why in the Majjhima Nikaya, when Venerable Ananda was asked what type of meditation is praised by the Buddha, what type of meditation is not praised by the Buddha, Venerable Ananda said, the type of meditation praised by the Buddha is the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. So when you develop the 7 factors of enlightenment, you are actually developing these 4 jhanas. And the type of meditation not praised by the Buddha is the type of meditation where the 5 hindrances are not eliminated. So like nowadays, people teach vipassana meditation, although it's useful for people to understand themselves. But when you practice pure vipassana meditation, you don't get rid of the 5 hindrances. So when you don't get rid of the 5 hindrances, you are still blinded. You are still here, the sutta says, you have lack of vision, lack of knowledge. You are being led away from Nibbana. So in that sense, the pure vipassana meditation does not lead you to Nibbana at all. They give you understanding of your own mind, of yourself, but definitely they cannot lead you to enlightenment. Only when you practice the 7 factors of enlightenment and attain all the 7 factors, which means you have attained the 4 jhanas, then you are rid of the 5 hindrances, and that will lead you to Nibbana. So any meditation where the 5 hindrances are not got rid of, that is definitely not Buddhist meditation. Buddhist meditation is only one type stated by Venerable Ananda in the Majjhima Nikaya. First jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, only that.